The sun was barely rising over the hills when Don Ramiro Torres, one of the most respected and feared ranchers in the region, leaned against the fence of his corral, watching in despair as the wildest chestnut colt ever born on his land escaped once again for the third time that week. His name was Hurricane, and he lived up to it. No rope could tame him, no rider could mount him, and no horse trainer could get near him without ending up bruised, battered, or humiliated on the ground. Ramiro frowned. He had spent weeks searching for the best horse catcher in the country, someone capable of capturing, calming, and training Hurricane before the annual auction where he intended to prove that his lands were still the best in the valley. But everyone had failed, famous men, veteran tamers, daring young riders. None had managed to even touch the animal's back. "I need the best," he muttered, irritated, as the wind stirred his gray leather poncho. "I can't take another embarrassment." Just then he heard a soft trot, almost musical, coming down the dusty road that wound between the poplars. Ramiro raised his head. It wasn't one horse, it was three. And on them rode three feminine figures, approaching with an elegance that seemed impossible in such a rugged environment. They were three sisters, Maria, Jimena, and Sol Vega, known in some towns as the Daughters of the Wind. Young, brave, mysterious, and, according to many, the best riders on the northern frontier. Rumors said they had inherited from their late father, a legendary cowboy, a special gift for communicating with animals. But no one knew exactly where they lived or why they only appeared when they wished. The only thing certain was that when one of them mounted a horse, even the wildest stallion lowered its head, as if greeting a queen. Ramiro was stunned, unable even to frown as he usually did. "And who are you?" he asked roughly, trying to regain authority. Maria, the eldest, firm gaze, calm voice, dismounted with fluid ease. "We were told you're looking for the best wild horse catcher," she said without fear. "And here we are." Ramiro burst out laughing, incredulous. "Three women, you think you can do what 100 men couldn't." The sisters didn't respond, they only exchanged a look. Jimena, the hot, tempered one, pressed her lips together. But Sol, the youngest, smiled gently. "You don't have to believe it, Don Ramiro," she said softly. "Just tell us where your Hurricane is." The next morning, the entire valley seemed to hold its breath. The ranch hands gathered around the pasture where Hurricane ran free, kicking up dust and neighing wildly. He was a magnificent creature, muscular, with a mane so black it seemed to swallow the light. But his eyes burned with fear, rage, and distrust. Nothing in him was tame. Ramiro crossed his arms and watched defiantly. "Let's see how long they last," he murmured. The sisters prepared without haste. Maria checked the saddle of her white mare, who moved as if floating. Jimena adjusted the reins of her proud chestnut stallion. Sol, meanwhile, removed her hat, let the wind tousle her black hair, and walked unarmed to the fence of the pasture. The ranch hands were speechless. "What's the girl doing?" one asked. "That animal's going to kill her," said another, but Sol didn't retreat. She closed her eyes and stood still, as calm as a river at dawn. Hurricane halted abruptly. His ears twitched. He snorted, suspicious, but he didn't attack. Something about the girl's stillness felt strange to him. Sol opened her eyes, and for the first time the horse's gaze met hers. "I'm not your enemy, big guy," she whispered, though no one else heard. At that moment Maria mounted and gave the signal. Jimena moved in from the left, quick but gentle, without shouting, without the harshness typical of cowboys. Maria approached from the right, guiding the animal toward a central point. But what most baffled the onlookers was that they never touched him. They simply influenced him, as if dancing with him. Sol remained in front, breathing in sync with the colt. Hurricane neighed, turned, kicked, but found no escape, and still there was no terror in his eyes, only confusion. Something inside him seemed to recognize the sisters, as if they were part of the wind itself. After nearly an hour of tension, sweat, and dust, the colt stood still, not defeated, not broken, simply calm. Sol stepped forward. Hurricane lowered his head. Silence filled the valley. She stroked his forehead. "Done," she said. Ramiro opened his mouth, speechless. That afternoon, while the sisters rested in the shade of the barn, Ramiro approached them with a softer expression than usual. "How did you do it?" he asked, not accusing, but genuinely amazed. Maria shrugged. "It's not about capturing," she replied. "It's about understanding. Animals only respond when they're not asked to be something they're not," added Jimena. Saul smiled, and Hurricane only needed someone to listen to his fear. Ramiro remained silent. The young women had done in one day what he couldn't in months. He couldn't deny it. They were the best. "I want to hire you," he said suddenly. "Stay at my ranch. I'll pay whatever you ask. I have other difficult colts and—" But Maria shook her head gently. "We don't seek permanent work, Don Ramiro. We only help where we're needed." Jimena stood and stretched her boots. "We're free, and we want to stay that way." The rancher felt a sting to his pride, but also something new, respect. "Then, what can I offer you?" he murmured. Saul looked at him sincerely. "Nothing. Just remember to treat your animals better. Many aren't angry, just scared." Her words pierced him deeper than he expected. In the days that followed, guided by the sisters, Hurricane not only allowed himself to be ridden, he also revealed a nobility no one imagined. He seemed like a different animal entirely. The ranch hands shared stories in disbelief, and soon the legend of the Daughters of the Wind spread like wildfire. Ramiro changed too. He began to listen more, to observe, to understand without imposing. And though he never admitted it out loud, he knew those three young women hadn't just transformed his wildest horse. They had transformed him. The morning they left, the sky was clear and the breeze soft. The three sisters mounted their horses and smiled goodbye. Before leaving, Saul stroked Hurricane's neck one last time. "Take care of them," she whispered to the horse. The animal neighed softly, as if answering. Ramiro watched them disappear down the road, three silhouettes that slowly melted into the horizon. And though he never saw them again, he knew that wherever the wind blew, they would be there taming the untamable, hearing what no one else heard, and changing lives without asking anything in return. And so the legend of the three sisters of the wind was born, the riders who needed no ropes and no brute force, because their greatest power was understanding the hearts of horses and of people.